Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Anderson, and today this topic is called The Four Healers. It is the second part in a two-part series. The first piece that you will find on video is called Is Your Marriage on the Path to Divorce, or Why Your Marriage Might Be on the Path to Divorce. This is the positive side of the two parts. The first part was about helping you take a hard, honest, kind of tough love look at your relationship and see if you're doing things that could be highly destructive to you and to your partner. Today, I'm going to talk about the positive things that you can do, ultimately the opposite of the destructive things that I described in the previous video. This is called the Four Healers. Now, you know probably, because it's all over the media, that around 50% of marriages, even today, end in divorce. And the truth is, in my experience, a lot of people who stay married and don't get divorced are often far from happy. And I'm convinced that there are two basic reasons that people get divorced and or remain unhappy in their relationship. They're simple. I'm not going to talk serious, deep pathology here. It's two basic reasons. There's poor education and there's immaturity. Now, poor education does not mean that you lack a college degree or a graduate degree. It means that you and most of us are poorly trained in what makes a relationship really work. Most people have very little idea about what they can actually do to make themselves or their partner happy. And sadly, most people go into marriage with no training whatsoever, and with the naive, which is an immature, really, attitude that marriage should simply make itself work. And this formula never works. But we keep on trying the same thing and expect a new result. And every time we say, I do, and expect the same result from the same behavior, we might call it, as Einstein made that famous quote about this, do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And that actually was Einstein who said that. That's called insanity. Now, many marriages could get a lot better if both partners heeded the guidance in these two videos. Especially, well, actually, one is just as important as the other, but I was going to say especially today. Part 1 described the four powerful, most toxic ways or ingredients in a marriage that's moving towards divorce. I described defensiveness, stonewalling, criticism, and the ultimate destructor, contempt. I'm not going to talk about those today. I'm just going to say if you want a bad, unhappy marriage that is on the path to divorce, include all four of those things, you'll get what you want. If you want a great increase in happiness, listen to the first video, find the things that you're doing, then come to this one and begin to apply the positives. First, take away the negatives, identify them, take them away, and then come here and identify the positives. I've taken the big, bad four negatives and described their opposites. And I hope that you will be able to apply these rather than spend your time blaming your partner for doing things so badly. Blaming never produces anything but victims. It makes the blamer feel powerless, and it makes the blamed person feel like a victim. And remember, one person is never, never, never the cause of a bad marriage. It takes two people to create an unhappy marriage. I've never seen it different from that. Now, let's go to what I call the 4 healers. The first one is the opposite of being defensive. And the opposite of being defensive is being undefended, being open, being vulnerable, being receptive, being willing to consider or see the other's point of view, and especially not having to be right. Now, there's a question that's asked often in counseling and coaching offices these days about this, and the question is, would you rather be right or happy? When that comes to relationship, I hope you're taking right. I'm sorry. I hope you're picking happy. Vulnerability means being, and this is the opposite of defensive. Vulnerability means being undefended. It increases trust and openness in a relationship, and it makes you accessible to your partner. It opens hearts and minds. It makes your partner feel safe with you, and that you can be approached and embraced. And it makes true intimacy, emotional intimacy and physical intimacy, a lot more possible. And finally, it engenders compassion. It is a powerful healer in a relationship. The second one, healer, is the opposite of stonewalling. It means being responsive, being emotionally accessible and visible, penetratable, empathetic, willing to dialogue. A person who stonewalls just makes a big wall, like a stone wall, and you just can't get past it, through it, or anything. So the opposite of that is being willing to dialogue, being willing to be able to show authentic interest in the other person's feelings and thoughts, and being willing to share your own. It means responsiveness. A person who is stonewalling is not responsive. They just shut you out, shut you off. So being responsive and empathetic removes a semblance of hardness and lack of caring. And it creates the possibility of a healthy back and forth flow of communication. And allows your partner to really get to know who you are and what you need and what you feel, which is essential to a healthy relationship. Healer number 3, I call the opposite of criticism, is being approving, being acknowledging, being accepting, being supportive, and especially being forgiving. Being accepting and affirming usually brings out the highest and the best in your partner. It creates an atmosphere of trust and willingness to share one's deeper self. It increases the experience of gratitude. And my friends, gratitude is one of the most important ingredients in a happy marriage. I could do an entire talk on gratitude, and probably at some point I will, but I'll say to you right now, since I have your attention, think about what you're grateful about your partner. Allow it to fill your heart, that feeling of gratefulness, of gratitude, and then communicate it to your partner. If you do that on a regular basis, it will change your experience of the relationship, and it will bless your partner in so many ways you won't believe it. And finally, the healer, 4th healer, the opposite of contempt is respect. It is honoring. It is gratefulness. It is appreciation. It is treasuring the other. It's an attitude of I, thou. Having an attitude of I, thou about your partner opens the door to a truly spiritual relationship in which both of you begin to heal your relationship with yourself, with the other person, and also with God. Nothing takes a relationship lower than contempt, and nothing takes it higher than the I, thou attitude. Thou meaning I see you as sacred. I see you as very, very special. I see you as someone worth honoring. My experience is that most married persons never realize the full and magnificent possibilities of marriage. Deep intimacy, inner healing, real acceptance of another person, and spiritual growth can all be achieved if each of the 4 characteristics that I just described are applied with care and commitment. No matter where you are in your marriage, you can begin to apply any or all of these guidelines. You will not regret it. And what you also see is some incredibly meaningful changes that change your heart, that change your mind, and change your relationship. I hope you will listen to this video more than once, that you will take notes on it, and then you will begin to interact with your partner with any one of the 4 I named today. Thank you.